Hello everyone, and welcome back to our DAX for Beginners series. My name is Brad, and in today's video we'll be diving into some date and time related functions, including today, now, Datediff, year, month, date, and Eomonth. These are going to be the first steps in allowing us to apply some time intelligence to our dataset. Alright, let's take a look. Date and time functions in DAX allow us to work with dates and perform calculations like extracting date components, comparing time periods, and calculating time-based aggregates. Creating measures and visuals that aggregate our data is helpful, but eventually you may reach a point where trends and comparisons become vital to the analysis you need to perform, and that is where the functions we'll look at today can help. The first functions we'll look at are today and now. Today simply returns the current date, while now returns both the current date and time. Let's go ahead and create these two measures and take a look. To get the current date, we can create a new measure called current date and call today. When we pull this measure into our canvas, we can see that the correct date is displayed, but we also have this time of midnight by default. Let's go ahead and switch up the formatting of this measure to short date. Now let's create another measure called current date time, and we'll use now for this one. When we pull this into our canvas, we see the current date and time displayed. One thing to note about the now function is that anytime we close and reopen our report or run a refresh on it, the measure will get updated. For instance, if we refresh our report right now, we'll see this visual update. To see how we can put these functions to work, let's introduce the Datediff function now, which comes in handy when calculating the difference between two dates. For example, we could calculate how many days it's been since each transaction occurred compared to today's date. Create a new column, and we'll call it days since transaction. We call Datediff. Then reference our date field as the date of the transaction. And we'll use today as our reference point and call back the number of days to serve as our value. And there we go. So this value here is the number of days that have passed from our value in the date column to today. Switching gears a bit here, you may encounter a need to break down a date into its individual components, year, month, and day. That's where these functions come in handy. We do have a date column here, but let's say we only wanted to extract the year from this. And yes, this data set already comes with a year column in it, but let's go ahead and show you how we can do this without that. Go ahead and create your new column. We'll call this column year2, call your year function, and then reference the date field. And now we see the year populate. To get the month number and day of the month, we can create separate columns that call each of those functions. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Right, and just to check here, so our first row should be December 1st of 2014, and that's what we have here, Monday, December 1st, 2014. Finally, the Eomonth function returns the value of the last day of the month for a given date. This can be helpful when calculating monthly periods or setting up rolling monthly calculations. Let's go and see how this works by creating our column and our function. We can also calculate future or past months by changing the last argument in our function. So if we wanted the end of the previous month, we could put in a -1 instead of this 0. Or if we want the end of the month, say 2 months from now, we could use 2. All right, to quickly recap, we covered the today, now, Datediff, year, month, day, and Eomonth functions today to show how we can start introducing basic time intelligence to our reporting and analysis. These can be really powerful when you're working with transaction dates or wanting to provide some insights around deadlines and time periods. We'll stop there for now, but if you have any questions about this content or would like the BIX team to cover a topic in a future video, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on future videos, and thanks for watching.